Photo News, South Canterbury's photographic newspaper, issue number 3, December 1983. Timaru as it was in 1911, looking south from about the Hydro Grand Corner. Looking south at the same spot last week at the Christmas lights hail the arrival of the festive season. Santa appears to have lost the attention of his audience, but will perhaps regain it once he finally gets the gift out of his bag. On Santa's left is Jacqueline Smith. Below is a happy crowd at a Christmas party with a difference. Unusual hairstyles were the order of the day. Alistair Doonan, Sarah Elton, Leslie Ryan, Chris Breen and Paul Quinn. Good morning folks, Ron Bishop from Timaru, New Zealand. I'm reading from Photo News. It was a newspaper my family and I did in 1983, and I'm reading the captions and showing you the photos that are in the Photo News. Issue number 3 of Photo News in December 1983, page 2. After being split up for 3 months, the popular local band Solid Gold has reformed and will be entertaining festive crowds at the DB Tavern over the holiday period. Errol James, Gerald Conlon, Jeff Hannon and Paul Wilson. Teachers from all over South Canterbury graduated after their first full year of teaching. Janine Cox, Jennifer Sullivan, Nicola Wilson, Sarah Elton, Leslie Ryan, David Haythorne-Waith, Kay Mackay, Diane Van Buren, Tracy Bingham, Joan Robinson, Barbara Turner, Gregory Simmons, Elizabeth Gray and Lorraine Schroeder. Providing a bit of fun for a gathering of about 100 members of the women's section of the Temuka RSA, Hinawira Biddle, a member of the Orofenua Maori Culture Group, Marie Williams and Kathleen Beebe, members of the local section. Michael Hennessy holds the audience captive at a Waimate Toastmasters dinner. Ian Todd of Morven uses an aid to his speech at the dinner. A cake to celebrate 45 years of the Timaru Pensioners Friendly Club is cut by Mrs. M. Smith and Mrs. Rolfe. That page was sponsored by Temuka Dairy Company and Clover Lee Ice Cream. The news, page 3. People, people, people. Enjoying the Salvation Army Home League Christmas breakup is Mrs. Kimberley, Mrs. Smith, the League's 2 oldest members, Mrs. Duffel and Mrs. Davis. Betty McHenry, Ethel Mowat and Anne Bain spread a little Christmas cheer with the help of Santa. Lachlan Munro is not too sure what to make of the big bird, while Father Alan looks the big fellow in the eye. Raising money for the Morrison Park Cricket Club Travel Fund means cleaning windows. Paul Williams, David Schrader, David Collins, Graham Sapple and Phil Beard raise their mops to show a good job. A member of the Timaru Municipal Band pictured while carolling. Making light work of the Les Holden, Alan Richards, Stu Bates, dandy-ha as they give the city its Christmas shine. This page was sponsored by the Albury Garage 1980 Limited, proprietor Jean and Stan Kennedy. Also, McPhail's book was printed in those days and sold by Whitcoulls. They sponsored this page along with Dove Print. Okay, here we go. Looking at page 4 of Photo News. Sarah Gervin of Fairley and David McPhail scanned through McPhail's new book, which is co-authored by John Gadsby and A.K. Grant. McPhail was in Timaru on a promotional tour. Alison Rowe received a warm reception when in Timaru recently to promote her new book. Mrs. Molly Patterson has her book signed by the world-class marathon runner. All Black second five Warwick Taylor and Canterbury hooker John Mills were in Timaru recently and spent some time chatting. Young Michael King. Michael signs the plaster on Taylor's leg that was injured in the first test against Scotland this year. A serious business. The tuning of the drones is undertaken by Reg Sullivan and Owen Richardson. Owen is drum major of the Waimate Highland Pipe Band. The Mayor of Timaru, Mrs. Helene McIver, looks over a new room at the Holstead Wing at the Bidwell Hospital with C.D. Holstead, Dr. C.D. Holstead. Ask Santa and the Mayor discussing this year's Christmas presents. Lower rates, perhaps. That's page 4, and sponsoring the page 4 is Wrightson's NMA. Wrightson's NMA. Right, moving along. Morrison Park was full of drama and action last week, but not with a roaring rugby crowd. The Timaru Police Department ran an armed offenders exercise at the park. The exercise was treated as the real thing and conducted with total seriousness. Rod William, John Pollan, Jeff Smith approaching the Star Rugby Club rooms with smoke bombs. A renaissance of the area requires speed and caution. Ray Curry and Gary Johnston used the loud hailer to establish communications with the offender. France shows he is a valuable member of the team as he bails up an offender. Photo News photographer Mr. Gus Bishop is a man who likes to get his teeth into the job. This time, however, the job got his teeth into Mr. Bishop. In the heat of the action, the dog had a slight misunderstanding that was quickly resolved with Mr. Bishop. Is the dog Poi and with Mr. Bishop is the dog Poi and handler Murray Leach. There they are there. The sponsors of this page were Johnson's Rod Cook Marine, E. Anscombe Contractor. Mike Darren had a car for sale there, a 1973 Premier V8 Auto. E. Anscombe was another sponsor. Dennison Enterprises and Dennison Enterprise Limited also sponsored the page. We're reading from the pages of Photo News, which was published in December 1983, and we're looking at a sporting page. The Splash for Cash fundraising project at the weekend saw swimming club members all over New Zealand turn in a combined total of 40,000 kilometres. Local participants are Annette Curry, Bronwyn Annett, Robert van der Geest, all members of the North End Club. Bad weather at the weekend put a halt to most sports, but did not deter Ross Baker from taking his laser out of the Timaru Harbour. Ross was one of a number of youths participating in a coaching course run for young sailors. Course instructor Kevin Jamie of Christchurch talks to participants Mark Fraser, Martin Milner and Michelle Baker, all of Timaru. The page was sponsored by FTC, Farmers Trading Limited. Looking at page 7 of the photo news, checking the odds are a few of a good crowd that turned out to the twilight meeting at Washstoke Racecourse last week. Looking every bit a champ at Avon, winner of the Albury Handicap at the twilight meeting. Avon was driven to victory by C. de Philippi. Demonstrating a classic karate stance at the demonstration of the Northdown Mall is an exponent of the sport, Michael Higgs. Should I or shouldn't I? Alan Gibson on the left of Christchurch gives earnest celebration to the next race. With him is Colin McLaughlin, also of Christchurch. Golfers look and learn. Ross Murray tees off at Levels Golf Course at the weekend. The wet weather did not cramp the style of this well-known local golfer. Senior, intermediate and junior sporting champions for 1983 at Craighead Girls High are Karen Parks, Senior, Sarah Willie, Junior and Anne Turpey, Intermediate. Photos to the right. A. Constantine enjoying a competition game for her St Mary's Club. The page was sponsored by Central Pharmacy of 266 Stafford Street and Olive Computer Centre. Page 8 of photo news. Scott's Wholesale Furnishes, the Curtin Centre. Sponsored the page along with South Canterbury Finance, Tim Underdown and Kevin Globe to discuss your finance and investment needs. There you are. Marklands also sponsored the page. Marklands for printed T-shirts. 170 Stafford Street, Timaru. Right, we're now looking at page 9 of photo news in December 1983. We've got some wildlife there. Beat the holiday crowds to see Zing Zing, New Zealand's only red panther, on display at the Hadlow Game Park. Page also sponsored by Hawthorn Foodorama under new management. Photos. This is one cat you can't cuddle. The jaguar is a native of South America and is the third largest cat behind the lion and the tiger. Second row. A quizzle look from New Zealand's only red panther during the morning meal. A 3-year-old Wapiti deer cross, a hybrid, is renowned for its size and quality breeding. The deer is in velvet. A rabbit right out of the habitat is trying to get his own back. A South American llama which was bred for its fine wool and its ability as a pack animal in the high mountainous country. South American golden spider monkeys huddled together, forming a close family unit. The red panther Zing Zing takes to the branches for a little exercise. Sponsored by the Hadlow Game Park and Hawthorn Foodorama. Page 10 of Photo News was sponsored by Camera World Cameras, Smith's Wholesale Groceries and Enting's Real Estate. On page 11 we have some photographs of weddings. Judith and Russell Standevan were married December 19th at the Bank Street Methodist Church. Judith and Russell would like to thank their relatives and friends for sharing such a special day with them. Photo by Tim Hawkins. Dodds Verstappen. Debbie, the eldest daughter of Dick and Heather Dodds, was married to Mike Verstappen on December the 3rd. Mike is the youngest son of Mrs. Marie Verstappen of Timaru. They would like to thank all those involved with the wedding, which was held in the New Life Centre, and the photo was by Gus Bishop. Another advertisement over here. Oh, what have we got here? Odie and Davies. Richard and Sally were married in Whangarei on November the 26th at St John's Church, Carmo. Photo by Brian High. An advertisement there by Wayne Miller Photography. Down here we have Porter Taylor. Anne and Grant were married at St Mary's Church, Timaru. Anne is the second child of Mr. and Mrs. C.G.R. Taylor of Timaru. Grant is the youngest son of Mr. and Mrs. C.D. Porter of Ashburton. The couple will make their home in Ashburton. Photo by Wayne Miller. Page sponsored by Page's Paint Centre and Wright Cars Toyota. People in the ad are Graham Curry, the sales manager, Lynn Coles, vehicle clerk, and Peter Hogg, new cars, Graham Walker, new commercials, and Bruce Donald, used vehicles. Photo News Kids. Photo News, page 12. Oh, he flies through the air with the greatest of ease. Adrian Galpin leaps off the high board at Maori Park Pool. Sean and Gareth Collins with the Kiwi mascots that are being sold to help raise money to send our Olympic team to Los Angeles next year. Santa was a welcome guest at the JC's picnic at Temuka. Andrew Meggett and Andrew McDonald with their model yacht at the Botanic Gardens. Nicholas Clark, 14 months, in high spirits at the Craighead Kindergarten Christmas party. Santa Claus seems to be everywhere. Craighead Kindergarten children give him a big welcome. Children from the Glenview Kindergarten after singing carols at the Glenwood home. The page was sponsored by W.H. Collins, and those in the picture are Jeff Day, Julie Fennick, Nola Doyle, Kay Dello, Ray Cox, Barry Gallagher. Also sponsored on the day of the page was the cyclery. Right, we move across now to page 13. Michelle Valentine, 6, was one of the 100 children who took part in the Christingle service at St John's Church, Timaru. The service celebrates the birth of Christ. Lee Jenkins and Simon Hopkins of Waimataito School, both members of the school band, watched the Royal New Zealand Air Force Band when it performed in Timaru recently. Of course I've been good, Santa Conlon looks hopeful as she talks to Santa. Wayne and Melanie Melanie Rutherford were two entrants at the fancy dress competition held after the Northdown Christmas Parade. The page was sponsored by G&A McLaughlin, Opec Furniture, the New Criterion Hotel in Waimate, Rod McElroy Auto Sales, and Matt Shaw's Menswear. Looking at a Photo News feature, page 14 of Photo News in December 1983. 30 members of the 36 staff who work at Cycle Maker's factory. A stack of frames ready for cleaning. Alison Smith and Joan Belworthy put it all together as they assemble the cycles. The finished built wheels ready for assembly. Andrew Stephen adds colour as he spray paints a frame. Grant Piper and Heather Evans have the job of truing the cycle wheels. Susan Patua concentrates as she hand wheels a frame. The finished wheel rider ready for sale. Pleasant Point benefits from cycle industry. Cycle Makers New Zealand Limited provides valued employment for the 36 staff at the factory at Pleasant Point. The company, which is owned by a number of specialist cycle retailers, both locally and throughout New Zealand, was initiated by Mr. Brian Jackson, a well-known cycle retailer from Timaru. Mr. Jackson sought the advice of Mr. Ian Hooker, who had several years' experience in the manufacture and marketing of cycles. After 2 years trading, the company is now able to compete with the major cycle manufacturers. The manager, Mr. Hooker, said the staff had been working very long hours to meet the Christmas demand. And the page was sponsored by Prattley's Dog Motels, from Prattley's Engineering, and Newman's Tyre Services from Temuka. Page 15 was sponsored by E.G. Peters Butchery, Arundel Lumber Company Limited, Beard's Motordrome in Temuka, and Glenetti Nurseries. And this note here from Photo News 1983 from Mr. Ron Bishop, the manager. This is the last issue of Photo News for 1983, and we take this opportunity to wish all our readers and advertisers a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. We trust you have enjoyed Photo News, and we look forward to bringing you more photographs of happenings around South Canterbury in 1984. If you enjoy receiving Photo News, then don't thank us, thank our advertisers who have made Photo News possible. If you are not receiving a free copy of Photo News or would like an extra copy to send to friends and or relations, retail copies are now available at selected stores. Refer to page 3 of this issue. Gus Bishop, Editor. Photographers required. Photo News is grateful to Wayne Miller and Tim Hawkins from Timaru and also Jim Hoare from Waimate for supplying photographs. We would like to receive more photos of activities and happenings from around South Canterbury. So if photography is your hobby, we would like to hear from you. A fee will be paid for photographs we publish. The back page issue number 3 of Photo News was sponsored by SOS Cut Price Liquor Stores, which is the Old Bank Tavern, Commercial Hotel, Masonic Hotel in St Andrews, Temuka Hotel, Fairley Hotel and Johnson's Empire Hotel in Waimate, Doncaster Washdyke, City Tavern Timaru, Glenetti Tavern Timaru. And Electronic House was another sponsor of the page.